How's it going, everyone? Sinister here of the Gamer Section, and today I'm going to review Gears 5 for the Xbox One and the PC. And if you're enjoying our channel, please hit that like button and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell to stay tuned for the new content coming. So we greatly appreciate it. So now onto the show, and of course, Gears 5 is basically continuing on where the last game left off. So before I go further, going to break down the story, the gameplay, the graphics. Also gonna give a review score at the end. So let's get down to it. And just like I mentioned earlier, basically, the story, basically it's after the events of the last game. Of course, this time the focus is gonna be on Kate. Of course, just like the other Gears game before, like its previous sequels, usually the game will basically center on a certain character. Like the first game was on Marcus, the second game was Dom, the third game was Cole, Judgment was Baird, and the last game was JD. So now it's Kate's turn to be center stage, and of course, as you get into the campaign, you're gonna figure out why Kate's the focus of the game and stuff like that. So basically, I'm not gonna go into spoiler territories for those who haven't played it yet or probably still playing the campaign. So trying to keep it spoiler free for you all. But basically, the story is amazing. I like how it flows. There's always connections, especially to past games. Just as the events unfold. But for those who do went through it, there's like a mode on there on the main menu called Extra, and there's like a certain option on there you can choose. It basically plays the events what led up to the fifth game now. So it's a nice retelling and things of that sort. And of course, moving on to the graphics, and man, the graphics are amazing. I mean, the Coalition did a great job on the environments, especially how it looks on a 4K TV without HDR10. Like some areas are so bright and some areas are so dark. It's just have it just right. Even of course, as you begin, you can always adjust the setting to your liking, so that way, hey, you don't want too much of the other or less of the other and things like that. You just have that right balance, so that way you see all the detail as you can do. And of course, with the characters themselves, like with Marcus, JD, and Kate, you can see how detailed they are. How the facial models and stuff like that, especially when they speak. And of course, for those who have battle scars like Marcus, I mean, you can see how detailed it really is and things of that sort. And of course, they have the same actors like from the previous games, which is cool. Things like that. I mean, of course, you gotta love John DiMaggio voicing Marcus, or at least respect as Cole, things like that. And of course, Baird always cracking me up as usual. But to me on this game, of course, the last game too, he kind of looks like Scott Steiner, and like an older version of him, things like that. But someone cracked up at me when I mentioned it and things of that sort. But I'm sure I'm not the only one that sees that. All right. Anywho, moving on to the gameplay, the meat and potatoes. Some of the gameplay is still the same, like from the last games. Of course, you have something new in here, and of course, you got the usual campaign. You got your multiplayer modes, and of course, you got a new mode called Escape. It's basically you and you team up with two other people. You get captured by the enemy, and you have to escape and destroy their base within. Basically, you have light on weapons, you're light on armor. So basically, you really have to be smart with your ammo and be tactical how to take on your enemies as you escape. Hence the name. And of course, like you're gonna find some challenging, and of course the difficulty amps up and things like that. Because I mean, there's surely gonna be some areas you can find it impossible. Find it impossible to get past. Like, oh, if you don't have a certain upgrade, just help you get through. Just to make it a little easier on you. That sort. And of course, as for the multiplayer, you have your usual deathmatch, King of the Hill. And of course, one of my favorites, horde mode. And of course, with the horde mode, they're brought back, the certain classes, like, certain characters have certain weapons, they have certain abilities. It's like engineer, being a soldier, helping out with weapons, things of that nature. And of course, this time, if you have the ultimate version, you have the Terminator, Dark Fate, as a promotion on there, because you get the the Terminator 800. You have that join the enemies on the swarm, And of course, on the COG side, you have Sarah Connor helping you out. And I tested out Sarah Connor in the horror mode, and yes, she is, she is awesome. I think something, she's like a tank, and just don't take no mess, don't take no prisoners, that kind of deal. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But I mean, you can go through it by yourself. But however, this time around, you have AI bots just to team up with you and things like that. But for those who not familiar with horror mode, I suggest like try on beginner mode just to get a feel for it. How to, especially what maps you're gonna be on, and basically put a fabricator in a certain place. That way you can get to it easier and things like that. But and of course, like if you get through every 10 rounds, you face a boss, and then of course the difficulty continues. So do the enemies. They get smarter, they have more health, and harder to take down. So yeah, you really got to be smart and tactical, so that way you don't get overwhelmed and things of that sort. So anyway, as I can see, that's the challenge. Yes, this game, you can challenge it is the way you want it. Like put on any difficulty that you wanted to start out with. But for the veterans, they probably want to start with like either the insane mode. If you really want a challenge on there, they'll probably gravitate towards that. But for anybody who's casual, they'll probably just choose like the normal setting just to go through. They want to go through the campaign or not, and things of the sort. But like I said, this each their own. And before I close out, I'm gonna give a score. As for a score, I give Gears 5 a 4.5 out of 5. The positives is like the graphics, and then of course some of the gameplay detail. It's fun. They got these new modes. They throw something fresh in there. And of course, Jack kind of helps you out more. As you get his parts and things like that. So that's a great plus. However, for the cons, there's usually you're gonna encounter some user glitches, especially in the story mode. You're gonna get stuck in one part. Even though you hit your button, you're trying to open it, trying to get to this certain area, you can't even access it for some reason. The game kind of freezes up, and you have to reload your last save point just to start over again, just to fix that glitch. Things that such forth. Excuse me. As far as the multiplayer goes, I just didn't like the way like they do it with the fabricator. Like after you kill your enemies, you collect your points. You're trying to deposit your points. This time around, you have to hit the X button, just to deposit your points. And I just don't like that because it kind of just slows down the flow. And plus, it leaves you open to enemies, and it's easier for you to get taken out that way. So hopefully, they can patch that up just to fix these issues and things like that. But other than that, I mean, it's an almost great game. So I mean, I really praise them for it. So anyways, just tell me your thoughts. Leave your comments down below. This is Sinister.